everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the official Diablo Cookbook. The Bandit's Bacon Candy last week was really good, if very spicy, so be aware of that. This week, we're on to the side, Hoodwinked Honey Carrots. Let's tell a story for this one. The captain had borrowed this recipe from a feast hall that catered to the gentry. As my mother ladled it onto my pewter dish, she spoke to the captain's unmatched affinity for honey sticks. Apparently, a pair of hapless swindlers sat bickering in a booth one night. Among other dishes, they had consumed substantial helpings of finely cured meats and these honey-roasted carrots, plus several strong brews. One staggered to the entrance, then turned to blurt a final insult. The other seized cutlery and gave chase. It had all been a ruse. A feeble attempt to dine without paying, but as they fled to the doorway, they ran into Captain Jeronin. One look at the rare upset on the proprietor's face stopped them in their tracks. The brigand spent the next 3 hours scouring pots at his washing basin, but the kindly captain still treated them to honey sticks as they sobered up. Well, that sounds like an interesting story. We'll see if it's worth all of that. The ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, we need 2 pounds of carrots with the ends peeled and the ends trimmed. I'm using significantly less than that. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 2 garlic cloves minced. You get about, I had to look this up last night, but you get about a teaspoon of minced garlic. A teaspoon of garlic out of a clove, so I'm going to use pre-minced garlic instead. 3/4 of a teaspoon of table salt, plus more as desired. Half teaspoon of black pepper. 3 tablespoons of honey, and a 1/4 bunch of parsley chopped, also been reduced to account for the reduced volume of the carrots. Anyway, let's move into the kitchen now, and we'll start putting this recipe together. You'll probably hear the oven chirping while we work on this recipe. A very rare number that we're taking it up to. We're preheating the oven to 430. We need to cut the first thing we need to do after that is cut the carrots on the bias into 2-inch length pieces. These are probably a little bit longer than that, but we'll work with that. Then we want to place the carrots into a large bowl, which we've got right here. Then we're going to add in the oil. So we'll take the 2 tablespoons of oil. That can go back up. The minced garlic. Putting that back in the fridge in case you're wondering what the background noise is. The 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. One, 2, 3. The salt can stay out for the time being. And the half teaspoon of black pepper. There we are. Here we get that out. There we are. The pepper can go back up. And now we're going to toss all of this together. Okay. toss this in so we get a little bit more of the garlic in there. I think everything looks good there. So I'll give my hands a quick wash. Since I am getting ready to turn the camera off here, and in order to proceed, we need the oven to come up to temperature, so we'll come back once the oven reaches 430. The oven just came up to temperature not too long ago, and I've got a baking sheet here in shot that I've lined with aluminum foil. The recipe doesn't say to line it with aluminum foil or spray it down with cooking spray, which I'm going to do. I do both of those just to make cleanup a lot easier. So I'll go ahead and spray the aforementioned pan. The cooking spray can go back up. There, I think, yes, it'll fit there. Now we're going to take the carrots and we're going to lie them down on, on the baking sheet. Sorry about the cough. I think I got some of the cooking spray vapor in there. I forget that is a thing. Okay. That can go toward the dishwater. Get my hands in real quick. And now we're going to drizzle the honey on top. So I've got the honey right here. Pass with it. Okay. That can go back up. And now I'll move the camera out of the way so I can get into the preheated oven. And we're going to set this for about 10 minutes or until the carrots start to char and get some color. So we'll put that in the oven. Set a kitchen timer. And we'll come back to that in about 10 minutes. The carrots just, the timer for the first side of the carrots just went off, so now we're going to flip these over. Come on. There we go. Put the tongs in the dishwater. Move the camera out of the way just a little bit. And then we'll put the carrots back in. For another 10 minutes. And we'll come back after the oven timer goes off again. As I was moving moving the carrots from the baking sheet to the plate, I felt something that I have never liked at all, but I'll talk more about that during the taste test. Before we get there, though, we need to sprinkle these with parsley, and this is probably way more parsley than it calls for, but we'll go with it. Then we'll put a little bit of salt on here. That's probably a bit more than a little salt, but we'll go with it. And then we'll move over to my desk for the taste test. I've got the carrots right here, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I think I was feeling after the taste test. Fortunately, the carrots are fork tender, but I'm not sure if I make that for a good sign or a bad one, but let's find out. I happened to hit a spot that was fairly salty, so I was tasting quite a bit of salt in there. And probably used a little more salt than I should have anyway, but my instincts about what I was feeling as I was moving from the baking sheet to the plate actually were accurate. So let's talk a little bit about that. These actually ended up being fairly soggy, which is not a good mix for me anyway. You may like soggy veggies, but I don't. And I don't know if I've talked about this, but whenever I go home for Christmas, or for other special occasions, or even when I was a kid, I never liked soggy vegetables. My parents, or even me when I was cooking them, we had to very lightly, as we put it, we had to very lightly threaten veggies before I warm up to eating them. Because I tend to like them, the rawer the better. I don't like veggies when they're super soggy. And that's what I was feeling as I was moving these from the baking sheet over to the plate. So I'm rambling on it, but basically they're a miss for me, but your mileage may vary depending on what you think, on how you like your veggies. That's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. As for next week, we'll be making the entree, Necromancer's Broiled Fish. As for the game videos, what's scheduled on the channel, tomorrow we're continuing the fall campaign in Astro Knight's Eternity. And Wednesday, we're starting a new background campaign in Hero Realms. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.